there have always been people who are willing to do whatever it takes to get ahead of life. This often involves manipulation. This is just part of human nature, selfishness, and greed. Some people do it more than others, and some do it so much that they eventually see their lives fall apart. However, some people are successful. People often risk self-destruction to achieve greatness, power, and fame. Some people experience seeing the error in their ways and changing for the better. However, some people refuse to change and are stubborn. They end up starting a new life built upon new lies and new manipulations. Alcibiades in Plutarch's Lives has seen his world fall apart as he is banished from his Greek city-state of Athens. However, he runs away to the city-state of Sparta and starts a new life and manipulates new people and is successful in creating a new life for himself. Spartans were very warlike people, which is different from the culture that Alcibiades was used to. This forced him to change many different things about himself in order to assimilate into their culture. The Spartans were not a very trusting people. They were taught from a very young age to be wary of outsiders. They often employed many forms of propaganda to make sure that people who were not Spartan did not know too much about Spartan politics, economics, or the strength of their military. The entire Spartan population was essentially one giant army. So in order to become part of Spartan culture, in order to get them to trust him, he had to do several things. One, he gave them lots of military targets. This is important because the Spartans loved the art of war. They loved fighting people because they were good at it, and they knew that if they fought someone, they would win. They were bred from a very young age to be warriors and taught from the age of 7 to fight. So in order to do that, he decided to take revenge upon his former people, the Athenians, and give the Spartans a bunch of Athenian military targets that he knew would cripple the Athenians. He did this out of revenge because he was an Athenian general. However, he could not just give them military targets. Based on the Athenians, he also sent aid to other Greek city-states that the Athenians would fight. This caused the Athenians to hurt even more from a military point of view, as well as economic. And so after he gained a little trust from the Spartans, he ended up having to fully assimilate into their culture. He had to cut his hair. He ate the same meals that they ate. He lived as they lived. He had to adhere to this strict daily routine. The Spartans were a warrior race, and their entire population was essentially one giant army. And every day they engaged in physical exercise and as well as military drills that trained them to be autonomous soldiers. Most Spartans had been raised this way their entire life. Alcibiades, being older, had to learn everything and catch up, so to speak. He spent night and day learning military drills, learning to use the Spartan weapons, and eventually many people have stated that you could not tell that Alcibiades was not Spartan by the end of his stay in Sparta. He also had to give up his life of luxury in Athens, where he was very rich and powerful. He had many servants and would eat very fine food and wear nice clothes. He wore the same outfit that all Spartans wore, which was a simple cloak, and he also ate the same basic food, which was they called it black broth, which was essentially the bare necessities needed to survive, mostly carbohydrates, and was not seasoned at all because they did not want to weaken the body. He lived in the barracks with all the other Spartans as was custom. He did not have a giant mansion as he did in Athens, with servants who catered to his every whim. He lived as a soldier did, and was ready to fight at a moment's notice. He also had to work very hard to maintain a certain amount of land. However, this was mostly done through servants, but he was required to manage all the servants who did that. He was able to completely conform to the Spartan way of life, and it was very different. This is because everywhere that Alcibiades went, he transformed from their culture. Some places he needed to be a drinker, so he drank a lot. Some people he needed to be carefree and happy, and he assumed that persona. And this just gives strength to his ability as a manipulator to control people in order to get what he wants. And at the end of the day, he needed to get what he wanted in order to survive, because the Athenians were trying to kill him. And so it's really incredible that he was able to go from first world status, where he lived as a prince, to almost a third world status, where he was treated as little more than a servant, and the people there considered him as their own, even though they were generally mistrusting of outsiders.